Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting for Thursday, November 27th, 2025. It is now 9:30, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to acknowledge that we work, live, and play on the ancestral lands of the Sechelt and the Squamish Nation. And I'm looking at the agenda that we have today. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, I'd like a motion to accept the agenda. I see a motion, I see a seconder. All in favor? Very good, we have an agenda to work with. I'd like to also look for a motion to accept all presentations and reports. A motion and seconded, and all in favor? Very good. All right, so moving on. Item 3.1 is a presentation from the Sunshine Coast Affordable Housing Society, and we have our Regional Housing Coordinator, Kelly Foley, here. Good morning, Kelly. What have you got for us today?
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to present today. I'm going to share with you an overview of our strategic initiatives for 2026. Pretty high level. I'm certainly open to questions afterward. Is that better? Oh, there we go. All right. As you know, we identified the following priority areas in our 2023 Social and Housing Needs Assessment Report. So seniors housing, housing for working age adults and their families, and prevention and pathways out of homelessness. And we're continuing to focus on these three areas. So for the initiatives for next year, I just want to make a point that we've done considerable research over the past few years that has really set the stage for the work that we're undertaking now. I would say a really deep understanding of our housing landscape, the needs and challenges that are faced by citizens in the community, be it a senior, be it a young person that is, on a kind of a lower income. It's really understanding what that looks like for our community. We've been able to look outside this community to the great work that's being done in other communities that we can learn from and build on. And probably most importantly, it's developing collaborations and partnerships. And I feel like through this work, we've really developed the capacity to kind of move forward and really address the housing needs in our community. So I'm going to talk first about kind of more like the brick and mortar in terms of housing building, so land development, community housing. As you're all aware, we've recently completed the technical report for the regional land use study, working in collaboration with the regional district. Similar work has been done by the town of Gibsons and the district of Sechelt. And this really provides a really valuable tool in terms of an inventory and assessment of land that could be used for community housing. The next piece of this work is on the ground engagement with landowners to really understand what their capacity is and what their vision is in terms of land development, and if there is an opportunity kind of to align our goals and work together. Another important initiative that will begin in the spring is the multi-unit small-scale housing and property conversion or retrofit project that I think you're all aware of. We recently found out that we've received funding through the Community Housing Transformation Fund. So this means we have provincial funding, we have federal funding. We also have support from Van City and our local Sunshine Coast Credit Union. Essentially, this project is about bringing together all the expertise. So builders, energy experts, financial experts, accessibility experts, and trying to figure out how do we do this and how do we support citizens to do this work. The project will look at two typologies, so small cluster housing, with a shared social space and converting a large single attached house into multi-units. And that includes looking at the opportunities to develop a caregiver suite, which is really important for older adults in the community. This will culminate in a housing solutions hub, which we've started, where we will house all of this knowledge and information, as well as resources that are already available. There's a myriad of information that's out there that people and organizations have already done. The idea is let's pull it all together. Let's give this a rural lens and make it accessible to citizens in the community. A big piece of this work is supporting the nonprofit community, the housing developers who are doing amazing work. Our current inventory for nonprofit housing, 318 units with another 189 under construction. So that's kind of ongoing work, is helping these organizations to do the great work they're doing and building their capacity. Another important initiative is moving ahead and supporting the development of supportive housings. So assisted living, long-term care. We usually look at this in the terms of a graduated care models, so that people are able to stay in the same facility as they age, and it's not sort of these hard lines between assisted living and long-term care. Lots of work has already been done around needs assessment and market analysis, a lot of engagement and outreach with the community. It just needs to be wrapped up in a business case that can be shared with other organizations. Rental incentives and support. As you all know, we have a housing registry for essential service workers, which is ongoing work in managing that registry. I think we have about 25 listings. So we've done very well in terms of getting support from homeowners to put their property on. The challenge has been making certain that the essential service organizations are aware of it and their staff are aware of it and using it, especially new staff. So that's been a big emphasis. Another initiative that I'm working on is a puzzle, and it's developing a strategy around how do we support landlords to provide housing, low income housing for seniors. It's desperately needed in our community. I think there's an opportunity here. How do we support landlords in a way to mitigate the risk? How do we incentivize it for them? How do we support the tenants? So this is a collaboration with many nonprofits on the Sunshine Coast in figuring out how to do this, and then the initiative will launch next year. Supporting aging in place. This is really important. It's probably one of the biggest and most critical gaps that we have in our community right now. It is the strategy of the our BC government, the Ministry of Health, around older adults. There's less resources being spent in terms of supportive housing, which we definitely need around long-term care and assisted living. And the emphasis is how do we support seniors as they age in their homes. Our approach has been initially to really build on the NORC model, naturally occurring retirement community. The idea of this is find communities, neighborhoods, buildings where there's already a high density of seniors living there, and working with that community to develop a resident kind of led group that brings those individuals together and connects them to services and supports. So we have one in Sechelt, and it's been doing exceptionally well for a year now, almost a year. And our goal is to develop at least 2 more of these communities in 2026. And one will be confirmed at Green Court in Sechelt, and we're considering the location of the second community, thinking maybe it could even be a sort of a mobile home park. The other initiative that kind of overlaps with this is not only creating sort of this community or NORG, but also creating a repair collective. And what that means is bringing together tradespeople, maybe retired tradespeople, and connecting them to people that live in a mobile home that needs repair. And it would be done very slowly and over time, but I think there's a great opportunity. I've heard from lots of larger contractors that are interested in supporting this type of initiative. So it just, you know, it needs some thought and basically being able to connect those people, you know, to seniors that are needing this support. Finally, prevention and pathways out of homelessness. Our working group is mainly focused on looking at those pathways out. And those pathways out mainly consist of transitional housing and second stage housing, and then obviously deeply affordable housing. This is just for your information, and it's some information or data that I put together that provides the number of units under these categories. So it's a good sort of reference in terms of the housing spectrum that we have on the Sunshine Coast currently. As I said, the Prevention Pathways Out of Homelessness Working Group is really focused on those sorts of transitional and second stage housing opportunities that allow people to move away from homelessness and from emergency type housing. And a big initiative here is getting recovery housing in the community. We've been working with an organization called Together We Can Society, who are based, one of their sort of programs is based out of Cathet called Miklat, and they want to move here, they're ready. We just need to find a house for them to lease, and so we're actively looking for a 7-bedroom home, if anybody knows of any. Doesn't matter where it's located, definitely not downtown Sechelt, but pretty much anywhere else. And finally, supporting individuals at high risk. This is a really great program. It's a very innovative program. Essentially, it brings together different frontline workers, so it's a very integrated approach that brings these support workers together to address people that are at high risk, individuals at high risk. And that's been operating since October of this year. So that about covers it in terms of sort of kind of the high level of initiatives that have been and will be underway for 2026. Any questions from anyone?
Thank you, Ms. Foley. I'm really grateful for the update on this. This is an international issue. But we need to work on it here at the local level. There's lots of reasons why it is like this. I'm going to look to the directors and see if I'm going to be looking for hands, see if anyone has a question for our delegate. Director McMahon, go ahead.
Hi. About the small-scale housing, the retrofits of existing properties, would it be possible to, well, you don't know for sure, but it would be nice if you could find a site that's in a municipality and one that's in a rural area, because the barriers are somewhat different.
I think that's really important, and it's definitely under consideration. I'm going to work also with local government staff to help identify some great case studies, because a big piece of the work is really working alongside organizations or individuals that are trying to do this work and understanding it from that perspective.
Go ahead, Director Gavias.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you to Ms. Foley for this presentation. It's incredible, all the work that's being done, and I know that's had a big impact on the community, positive, so thank you so much. I'm listening to the presentation and looking at all these amazing initiatives. I'm seeing a lot of maybe synergies with the OCP renewal that's happening, because we are trying to meet some housing targets, right? And some of these initiatives could help us. And I'm wondering what, how at a high level, like how is the regional housing coordinator and staff working together when it comes to a project like the OCP renewal?
Go ahead, Ms. Foley.
Sure. I've been very fortunate with, I mean, and it's great because all local governments are going through this process right now, and they have been including me from the very beginning all the way through in terms of the conversations, the lenses, the really understanding what are we trying to solve, and from a person-centric perspective. And so I've been very thankful that I'm included in all of those conversations.
Go ahead, Director Inkster.
Thanks through you, Chair. Thanks, Kelly, for the work that you do and the work that your volunteer group is doing attached to you. I'm looking at the report and the presentation broken up nicely into all the initiatives. And you may have mentioned it, and I was probably looking ahead in the report. So forgive me, but on small scale housing, tiny homes. So it's become and we're focused on so many other things in Seashelt, as you know, but it's become over the last probably, I would say 8 to 10 years, sort of an idea. And some people have been pushing it, and one of the main proponents has moved off coast, as you know. But I've been looking for and hoping, how do we move in that direction of providing more of those opportunities? There's rural areas that may be able to host those kinds of homes and/or communities that are tiny homes, but Seashelt, as an example, we're starting to talk about more about the American Canadian dream of single-family dwellings, and we're starting to talk more about maybe we need to start moving away from that model. Not everyone needs a large house on a quarter-acre lot because we just can't house everybody based on affordability reasons. So tiny homes is a solution. So how do we do that? The rural areas, as I said, may have opportunities, but how do we do that in municipalities with the really clear zoning issues and this is a single-family home neighborhood and this is a dense downtown neighborhood? So I know it's a big question, but we probably have to start looking at more of this. Thanks.
I absolutely agree with you, in terms of that's the way forward, especially for young people that want an opportunity to gain equity or build equity within the community. I think when we're looking at the small-scale housing model, that encompasses the tiny homes model, and many of the barriers and challenges are similar. So I think we can address it at the same time, and I think it's important to look at it in the context of, as Director McMahon said, the municipal challenges versus the regional challenges. And that's, because it's land use, it's zoning, there's all sorts of infrastructure, there's all these obvious challenges for that typology. Yeah.
Challenges, as I indicated, as to why there isn't more of them. So there's challenges, but in your answer, you're saying that we're moving towards workable solutions?
Yes, that's the actual project it has the word solutions. That's the idea, is we're going to come out of this with a playbook that will provide a path forward.
To more tiny homes?
Well, small housing in general.
That may include that.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Foley. I wanted to draw attention to one of the slides on page 3 of the presentation. It's like the 8th slide. It's the Housing Solutions Hub. And so it has these 6 arrows going in different directions that have different aspects of your housing solution that you've come up with. And I wanted to bring attention to the board and to staff that there are two of these arrows that pertain directly to local government. And that's the building regulations and codes, and that's the ways to optimize building development processes. And so those are in our court, and those are things that we can handle. The other parts of this structure, this chart that you've created are outside of our purview, but those are definitely within our purview. And I'm looking to the directors to see if they have any more questions. No? Okay. I seem to have lost my co-chair, but we will, I'd like to thank you for your presentation and just call upon us when you need us. I hope that the work that you've lined up for next year is amazing, and I hope we can support it in any way we can.
Thank you,
Ms. Foley.
everybody.
Okay. And if we are ready to move on, I'm going to go into the reports. We have report 4.1, Chapman Creek Environmental Flow Needs Assessment Project, which is a report for a request for decision from staff and our General Manager of Infrastructure Services, Remco Rosenboom, and we have Environmental Planning Coordinator Sandy Banderas with us as well. I look to you to introduce this report for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, committee. As part of the 2024 budget process, the board approved funding for an environmental flow needs assessment project. The intent of the project was to go through the regulatory steps required to confirm if the EFN, the environmental flow needs requirement currently that we currently have for Chapman Creek, could be reduced. The project had two phases. Phase one was confirm further field work to confirm habitats and flow and how they all interact with each other. And the second one was the development of an adaptive management plan as a plan that would have all kind of monitoring requirements and would outline thresholds for certain actions to be taken. The second phase would be actually a 2-year trial of the plan to see if it works, if it needs to be adopted, what any impacts of a flow reduction would be, and then those results would be presented to the regulators for a final decision if the EFN could be lowered permanently or not. So the intent would not be to lower the EFN year-round. It would be primarily during the months of June, July, and August, when during times when we would be in stage 2 during the period. So the purpose of this report is to provide an update on the finding of phase 1 of the study. And we concluded, or phase 1 concluded, that a reduction is in theoretically possible, but that there will be substantial financial and operational implications, adjustments that we need to make, including infrastructure upgrades, as well as that we would need to refer this project to Department of Fisheries and Ocean for their review. That is, we were hoping to avoid that because usually that requires additional requirements, additional monitoring, additional obligations, but we've now confirmed that referral is required. So the purpose of this report is to seek board direction on how to advance this project, and we have 3 options presented and included in the report. And I have to state that this project has been implemented in great collaboration with staff from the Seychelles Nation. They've been heavily involved throughout the project, including in the design and the monitoring programs, etc. And we've received earlier this week, we received an email from them in a response to some of the options recommended in the report, and they already expressed their concerns with option 1. with advancing with the EFN reduction as an emergency measure. We haven't had an opportunity yet to further have conversations with them, but I thought it's helpful for the board to understand this right away. Thank you.
Thank you for that introduction. I'm going to look to my board members to see if they have any questions. Director McMahon, go ahead.
So to be very clear, we would only use the EFN reduction during stage 4 if salmon were not in the creek. Is that correct?
Under option 1, that would be indeed the case.
I went back and looked at when the various stages were called over the years, and we usually don't get to stage 4 until late in the summer when the salmon are returning. So the opportunity here is if we had a really early drought, it might come in, but the chances of this being actually utilized are not really high. Okay, just wanted to be clear about that.
Thank you, Director McMahon. And as well, the landscape has changed a little bit since we contemplated EFN reduction, and we used it one year, I recall, that we've had another well come online, and there's a possibility of yet another well. And so I think the landscape has changed a little bit. I'd be very interested. I know you said that we need to consult with the Seychelles Nation some more on this, and I'd be very interested in hearing from them at the soonest possible convenience. I'm looking to other directors for any other questions on this. Then there's a choice of 3 different motions here, 3 different choices, and so I was wondering if any of you care to bring a motion forward that we can debate. There we go. Director McMahon, go ahead.
Yeah, I recognize that it's nice to have as many tools in our toolkit as we possibly can because we don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, reducing EFN in the creek has marginal benefits for us, and it's again, it's kind of hard on the environment. Even I know all these studies and stuff, but I really feel like we should keep the water in the creek if we can. I'm going to move option 2 and see if there's an appetite for that at the board table. That's on page 14.
Excuse me. Yeah, I see option 2 is abandoning the project. That would return the remaining project budget to uncommitted regional water system as well. Is there a second for this option? I see a second for this option. Okay. Are there any questions on this option before I call for a vote? I do not see any questions. So, go ahead, Director Gabias.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Interesting. Staff does not recommend this option, and there's, I'd like to get a better idea of why that is, like why this one is not recommended, if like staff wants to
That sounds
high level.
sounds like a question for our CAO or for General Manager Rosenboom. Go ahead.
Thank you. Staff have been tossing around with option 1 and 2, if we need to switch it or not. Given the original intent of the project and the objective of the strategic plan of the SJD board to advance our water supply and explore all opportunities to do so, we felt that it was the right thing to make option 1 the recommended option. However, we can totally, option 2 is definitely an option that is, I think, a realistic option to move forward with.
So we have a motion on the table, and I don't see any other hands up for questions. So I'm gonna, go ahead, Director Gebias.
Yeah, thank you. I feel I want to talk about this more and yeah, interesting. I was, I first was looking at option one, and now I'm, seeing the perhaps the benefits of option two, and like listening to Director McMahon and saying like, yeah, like how much of a benefit is it to keep going? I guess like option one would be sort of the status quo. The way I understand it is the way we're doing it now. So going with the EFN at stage 4 is what we're doing right now. No, okay, we're not doing that right now. All right. Okay. Yeah, I don't like what I would be curious to hear what other directors have to say about this. I feel like this is kind of a big decision, and I want to have a.
Just a correction, that the project as it stands now is to explore a 2-year trial period, and that would require no more action from the board. And option one is to explore emergency use only, whereas option two is to abandon. So if we do nothing today, then option 3 will go forward. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, Director Inkster, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I feel like this is a major policy change for this board. And this happens. Sometimes these things are introduced all of a sudden. And based on the Vice Chair's questions of surprise, I think we should be very careful if we say yes to this particular motion, which I didn't expect. Based on the conversations we've had over the last couple of years about redundancies. So I'm not comfortable making that decision today. Thanks.
So, again, there is a motion on the table, and we either vote on it or we table it. I don't see any motion to table it, so I will call the question. All those in favor of abandoning the project? We have 2. All against? Opposed? Very good. Okay, so that fails. We're going to move on to another. We have 2 more options in front of us. We've exhausted option 2. So now we have option 1 or option 3. I'm looking for someone to make a motion, and I don't see anyone. I'm gonna turn to staff and ask, should we decide to delay this? Is there any implications to delaying this decision?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. If we were to advance this project, we would need to, and we want to do the trial period during the 2026, 2027 summer windows. We would need to advance this project shortly. So delaying the project or delaying the decision could, we would need to have some clarity if that would mean that we should advance as we currently are doing, or just pause any work on the project and potentially delay the 2-year trial period until 2027, 2028.
Thank you for the answer. Director McMahon, go ahead.
All right. I'm willing to move option 1, the staff's recommendation. I think it's the second best option. And it is only going to cost us $17,000 more. It returns some money to our operating reserves, which are badly needed for a lot of other projects that we've got underway. So I could support this too. And
as well, it is only during emergency stage 4, and if there are salmon in the creek, then we would not option that. So I'm looking for a seconder for that. We have a second. And do we have any questions on option 1? Yeah, question. Debate.
Yeah, discussion, sure. Yeah, I'm good with this. It's returning some money is always good, and looking forward with plans is always good. And did Director McMahon say this was a close second to the first one? I was just wondering that, but anyway.
Well, seeing no other hands, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any opposed? I don't see any opposed, so that passes. Thank you, General Manager. We're going to move on to item 4.2, which is General Manager Hall will join us to discuss the provincial referral for Bayview Fiber Corp marine foreshore lease. I'm sure there's a lot to explain about this, and I am on bated breath here waiting for an introduction by our General Manager. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The province of BC referred an application for a marine lease for log storage at Hillside. This lease would continue in existing use, although the area that is proposed to be used is changed slightly. This was expected to be referred to us. We currently hold a head lease in this area, and following board direction, we're in the process of wrapping that up with our sublessees transitioning to having leases directly with the province. Staff reviewed the referral from the perspective of the official community plan for the area, and also as the upland owner of an adjacent parcel. In general, the comments are that SCRD staff are supportive. The use fits with the OCP's marine industrial land use classification, and the referral package was reviewed with a QEP, and some recommendations were identified regarding the management plan that are recommended to be conveyed to the province for consideration in their role as decision maker and regulator of many aspects of marine operations. And additionally, there's a recommendation to refer this to the Area F APC. Staff are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I'm looking to Area F Director.
Thank you, Chair. Just to be crystal clear, this use is currently happening. There's no change of use. It's just a change of location slightly. So I just want to make sure that that's the intent here.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, that's correct.
Director Gabias, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. One of my concerns that staff has identified is the proximity to the estuary, like it's really, really close. And I'm wondering, does the province have to refer this to any other bodies like DFO, or is this, like, who else sees this
That's a good question.
suggestion?
General Manager?
Yes, Chair. DFO, Transport Canada, and First Nations will also review the lease application.
Very good. Go ahead, Director Stanford.
I'm thinking of how this the cleanup will happen with woody debris, because not everything will be able to go for burning or processing. I'm wondering if we could, how we'd look at more detail around how woody debris is disposed of, that it's not leaching into the environment. Is there anything we can add to clarify that?
Go
Or
ahead.
is that covered and it's just not stated in detail?
Yeah, we're trying to make sure that we know who's responsible for cleaning up what's going on over there.
Thank you, Chair. So as noted in the comments that are on page 17 of the agenda, One of the questions arising from staff's review is about debris management. The referral package that was provided by the province only includes a debris management area that's shown in the map that is one of the attachments, A1 on page 26. And there's limited detail on debris management in other areas of the proposed lease, hence its inclusion in comments back to the province. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Any other, no other questions? All right, so we've got a motion that hasn't been forwarded yet. Go ahead, Director McMahon, or Director Stanford.
I would like to move the motion as presented on page 17 of the package and probably page 1 of this agenda item.
And I see a seconder. And I'm looking to see if there's any other questions on this motion. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Very good. And that passes. Any opposed? No? Okay. Thank you for your time. We are going to move on to item 4.3, and General Manager Hall is still with us here, and Planner Humphreys, thank you for coming. This is the District of Sechelt Community Land Development Analysis Referral, and I'm looking to staff to introduce this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The District of Sechelt completed its community land development analysis this summer, and in September they referred the resulting report to SERD for comment. The CLDA forms part of the early stages of the district's OCP renewal process, with staff from Sechelt Nation and SERD assisting along the way to help ensure regional coordination in service delivery and land use. Through this referral process, SERD staff responsible for services delivered within the District of Sechelt or in areas interfacing with the District of Sechelt were asked to review the report and provide comments pertaining to policies or objectives that could impact service delivery, implications for regional growth, opportunities for collaboration, and considerations going forward. Some general observations through the referral responses indicate opportunities for further interjurisdictional collaboration and alignment related to service management, service capacity, and service investments, and overall regional resilience in the face of population growth and climate change. And Planner Humphreys, who is the lead on the referral and our project liaison with the District of Sechelt, is here to answer any questions along with myself. Thank you.
Thank you. And I see that there is 6 pages of comments that are being referred to the District of Sechelt. These comments came from the public or staff, or where did they come from?
Thank you, Chair. The internal referral process had staff from infrastructure, community services, transit, parks, and the emergency program provide analysis. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. It's good to see that happening. I'm going to look for questions from any of the directors on this particular item. I imagine the directors from the District of Sechelt will welcome this input. Would you like to? Go ahead. Go ahead, Director Inkster. I was hoping to hear from you.
That's why we refer.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And my Area D Advisory Commission, as well as Area B, will be looking these over as at a future meeting, a very soon future meeting, I imagine. There is some recommendations that appear on page 30. Would anyone like to put them forward? Well, I guess, there we go. Director Gabias, you go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and good to see the collaboration between local governments. That's always a really good way to go. Appreciate those comments from staff, and I'll move the recommendations on page 30 of the agenda.
And we have a seconder. Looking for any discussion on these? I don't see any, so I'm just going to keep moving along. I'm going to call the vote. All in favor? Good. Any opposed? I don't see any opposed. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. And we're going to move on to item 4.4, which is a whole lot of fun. The New Brighton Dock Facility Feasibility Study. And we have General Manager Gagnon. It's been a while since we've seen you here. Welcome back. There are no recommendations. This is a report for information only. But I'm sure there are certain directors in the room that have many questions. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everybody. This report in front of you today represents the conclusion of the New Brighton feasibility study. As per the board's direction, a public engagement process was undertaken in the fall, and the results of this process are included in today's report along with the final feasibility study. This information is presented to the board to guide discussion and inform next steps, and staff are here to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Director Stanford, what a surprise.
Thank you, Chair. I just have to commend the level of public engagement that this feasibility study represents. Obviously, there was a lot of interest from the Southwest Peninsula, which is the primary users of the New Brighton Dock. But to staff, is the other areas that have an interest in this function, including the rest of Gambier, the other islands, and Area F, as well as the rest of the regions that pay into this. Was there statistically relevant information coming out from other areas, in your opinion?
Yes, if I understand the question. Are there other interested parties that have been voicing their opinions?
Thank you, Chair. So statistically relevant, I'm not really clear on what the definition that you're looking for is. However, the report in front of you represents the feedback we received, and we have sectioned that into where the feedback came from. And then we've also, in the comments at the bottom of each question, tried to outline what the Southwest Peninsula feedback was versus the feedback of other regions. So this went out across all services that pay into the docks service, as well as broadly communicated throughout the Sunshine Coast. So I believe there was ample opportunity for folks to weigh in and participate as they chose. Thank you.
Sorry, that maybe was unfair. I'm just wondering, I did see, it was obvious that the survey was primarily used by people in the Southwest Peninsula, but I was particularly interested in opinions from other areas of Gambier, and that wasn't specified out, which is understandable. But trying to discern the level of support for different options, there was some interest, but again, the focus was primarily the response coming from the Southwest Peninsula. So that's not so much a question, but a comment that trying to discern the overall support for the various options. There was some input from other areas, but it was by far the interest of the Southwest Peninsula that participated in this. But I do have to commend staff for the efforts that they took to take this to other areas and get the response back from other function participants.
Thank you. Yeah, my vice chairs pointed out that there's a wonderful graph in the report in attachment C that shows where all of this came from. So it's like 120 people from Gambier Island participated, and there's about 35 people that were not in Area F. So that kind of answers that question. This is here for your information. Does anyone else have any questions? Director McMahon, go ahead.
Yeah, I have the big question. So now that we know this, what what now? It's this is a good report. I found it quite helpful. It lays out all the information, but we can't just do nothing at this point. Like, is there anything going on in the background? Are there any negotiations going on between NGCI and the province or anyone else that we are aware of? If we do nothing now, does nothing happen?
I'm going to let staff answer that, and then I'm going to go to Director Stanford.
Thank you for the question. So staff is looking for board guidance on this. Staff was asked to do a feasibility study, which we undertook and is presented to you today. So this concludes the feasibility study, and really next steps are up to the board to determine how we want to proceed. Thank you.
Very good. So I imagine it'll take a notice of motion. Go ahead, Director Stanford.
So I have a sort of an outline of things that have been going on regarding this subject that may help inform that question that you just gave. And then how do we follow up as a board? I just want to acknowledge that the Squamish Nation and NGCI Development Corporation have managed the New Brighton Dock for 12 years now. And they've done so at no cost to us at this point. This report clearly outlines a wide variety of options moving forward. But there has been other activities ongoing and are still ongoing through the last few weeks. Last month, there was a joint meeting by MLA Neal, and there's been other recent events that have provided significant information to consider. For instance, at a meeting on October 31st with all interested parties, which is the first time that's ever occurred on this particular subject. Interested parties including the federal MP. This was hosted by the MLA, so this was her ability to get everyone together. BC Ferries, Ministry of Transportation, the Kona Winds who operate the Stormaway, BC Ferries was part of this, NGCI was part of it, the Community Association was part of it. This was a very valuable group and a valuable hour-long discussion. The NDS or NDC, the NGCI Development Corporation, demonstrated a continued interest potentially in divesting the facility, preferably for public use, but definitely to ensure specific access for the Squamish Nation members. BC Ferries indicated an interest in participating through fee-for-service arrangements. The community expressed openness to exploring alternative structural options that are more cost-effective and tailored to water taxiing emergency access. There is some consensus that the local community could manage and maintain the barge ramp that may simplify ongoing decisions. There was a community meeting hosted by the Gambier Community Association, and they demonstrated strong interest in partnership models for managing parts of the facility. And then, the other events that we didn't expect. The temporary closure of the West Bay float underscored the critical importance of the various dock facilities around the peninsula. And then, conversely, construction work at Hopkins Landing highlighted ongoing regional marine infrastructure projects that are managed by SCRD. The report itself noted that the current port's function could expand and support for the New Brighton dock, and that there is some support for that beyond the local island community. Still, we're far from fully informed on the scenario. Right now, NGCI, the province, and BC Ferries are waiting for the regional district to step up based on this report. But the feasibility report, although it fills in much of the detail, the question now becomes, how do we encourage other levels in government to advance reasonable offers that would incentivize divestiture while minimizing taxpayer burden? I think these are all really, there's still questions out there about how do we move forward if that's the recommendation of the board. And it's based on the finding funds to move through a divestiture process. It's complex. I represent not only Gambier's Southwest Peninsula, but also the rest of Gambier, the surrounding islands, and the Area F mainland, each with distinct priorities. And at the board table, I recognize that my responsibility is to support what's best for the region as a whole. And sometimes those interests don't align. So moving forward, the report has outlined several possible frameworks that could include New Brighton within the family of SCRD docs. But advocacy is still in process to the province and the federal government for support. And I plan to host a community meeting early in the new year to further inform a notice of motion to the board. So, and I will also follow up with additional actions as appropriate, outlined on page 17 of the report. So that's where I sit in terms of moving forward on this particular subject.
Thank you, Director Stanford. We do not envy your position, but I salute your leadership in this. And I am looking forward to hearing more about it. And I imagine at some point we're going to need to hear some type of motion in order for this to, and I'm not expecting it today, that's for sure. So Director McMahon, you have some questions, statements on this subject.
Yeah, as a participant in the service, the stewardship option that interests me the most at the moment is the facilitated third-party ownership option. I realize that it's more complicated, but it may come up with a solution that will fit the problem. Our current part service is not noticeably agile to respond quickly to issues as they arise on the wars. Not the fault of staff, we just don't have a lot of resources around this. And New Brighton is a really important, critical port that, you know, as noted, 8 times a day, BC ferry connection, 10 times a day. I beg your pardon. It's really important. So I think we need to find a solution that brings all the parties involved in this port to the table, especially including BC Ferries. And the fact that they are expressing an interest is kind of hopeful. So that's great. I'm glad to hear there's going to be some more meetings on this, and I look forward to some options.
More meetings. Director Gabias, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And, you know, I trust that Director Stanford will help us find a way forward on this. But when I was looking at this and I was like, okay, what would sweeten the deal for Half Moon Bay and for this board to take on another piece of, you know, substantial infrastructure? I'm thinking, like, what are we asking of the province? Like, if they're not willing to take it on, how are they going to contribute to the capital, to fixing it, to making it climate resilient, you know, whether the design changes or not? And are there opportunities for cost recovery for operations? And I'm thinking, like, some of our docks and boat ramps are used by commercial users. And maybe a question for staff is, like, what is our policies with commercial users? I know, like, in Half Moon Bay, for example, there's no, you know, commercial users are using the infrastructure at no cost. And is there, and, you know, understanding that they depend on this infrastructure is important to them conducting business, is there a way to have them contribute maybe annually to a fund that would ensure the maintenance and so that, you know, like, we're this infrastructure is really important. It's costly. It's starting to cost the community quite a bit of money. And is there a way to ask those who use this infrastructure for business to perhaps contribute in a way that is not burdensome to staff and that does not require too many resources? So a question for staff right now.
Those are good. Those are good questions. As someone who represents an area that also pays into docks, the idea of a licensing fee to commercial users for the use of our infrastructure, with some penalties for non-compliance, would be an interesting way to go. Hard to police, but if the public is aware that there's commercial users that are putting strain on our infrastructure, they could help with that. I'm looking forward to. Oh, is there any other statements? Oh, is that a question for GM Gagnon?
Thank you, Chair. So relaying this back to New Brighton, the topic at hand, there is comments around revenue opportunities in the feasibility study on page 10, which could include moorage fees, agreements, et cetera. So certainly those are all part of future discussions should that, should that proceed. Thank you.
Director Stanford, go ahead.
One of the questions I've had consistently come up among local community members is in the report, the amount roughly of $160,000 per year to maintain New Brighton Dock is the number. There's been questions about what does that mean? Like what is entailed in the $160,000? Is there more detailed information that I can resource for the community's information on that number?
Thank you, Chair. So we could look at providing information that would reflect the way we provide financial information to the public in a public forum that breaks it down into categories, but certainly the report identifies that involves staffing costs, insurance, ongoing regular maintenance, repairs, inspections, contributions for major inspections every 5 years, and the administrative overhead. So those are all categories within that. But if there's detail requested, then we can provide that in a way that we normally do from a public consumption perspective. Thank you.
So follow up, maybe I can take that offline and see how I can resource that to help them. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your input as well. I don't see any other hands up, but we're looking forward to hearing about this at lunch, I'm sure. I'm going to move on to our next item of business, which is, let me just find it here. Sorry, get right to it. It is the Gibsons and District Fire Protection Commission minutes from the October 22nd meeting. We have Chief Michael in the audience today. I was looking to see if there's any questions pertaining to these minutes. Go ahead, Director White.
Yeah, well, this is awkward as we're still trying to review and figure out how this commission is supposed to work in our governance. We had a fringe area meeting about it. It's definitely supposed to be an independent commission. It's not within the SCRD or within the town of Gibsons, but it's a joint independent commission that even has some authority from the provincial government in that way. So it's all a little strange as I think there's still, even in terms of reference, it's been written by the SCRD, not the commission itself. So we have some work to do to figure this out, I think, in the coming months. And I think I understand this is the first time commission minutes have been on a SCRD agenda in some time. But I do have I mean, on these minutes, that said, I still have a question. I mean, I guess it's maybe for the rest of the commission since we're an independent commission. But I thought that we, who happen to be here, two members anyway, I thought that one of the recommendations here, I think it's recommendation 4, was very clear that this feasibility study, I mean, and it's the reason the town of Gibson supported the recommendation, would not be coming from function funds. That's something we established, right, when we drafted this motion, and now the motion doesn't reflect that. So my inclination would be, since it's independent, send it back to the commission for clarification. Furthermore, this commission, in the bylaw, needs to recommend a 5-year financial plan, including operating and capital estimates to the SCRD by November 30th of every year. So that's in 3 days. And I see in the minutes, the financial information was merely received. There wasn't actually a budget to be recommended. So this has happened before, and the town is, from the town side, as a joint commission, we've requested that this be done late. So I think I'd like to look at that again and just go back, contact the chair of the commission and say, we still need this to be done by the end of the year. We recognize it's not going to be done by November 30th, but we do need a 5-year financial plan. The SCRD especially needs that, including operating and capital estimates to inform our budget process, to align with the bylaw.
Very good. Is there, I'm going to turn to Director Stanford as one of the members of this commission. I do have a point of information. This commission, is it a new body? Has it been around for a long time? Long time. Okay, I'm just wondering, because we haven't had minutes before, so I was wondering. So go ahead, Director Stanford.
Couple points. I have seen minutes come through the board before, so maybe not this detailed, but certainly they have come through. And to the point of the recommendation 4 about how the feasibility study is funded, it looks to me that's included. It says options for feasibility study to be explored, including the potential for developer contributions and other alternate sources, and that consideration be given to conducting a separate Area F specific feasibility study. So that's in the recommendation.
Go ahead.
There are options, but I mean, I think it implies that the default would be that this be funded by the function. When we were sitting at that table, Director Stanford and I agreed that, and the whole body agreed, it absolutely cannot be. So it's not clearly stated in this. So I kind of expect we're going to get options, and the default's going to be it comes back to the function, and that's just not, which happened last year, and it wasn't supported. So we need to focus on looking at the alternatives to do this, and not just have it come back to the function, because there's a good chance it's not going to be supported again.
I think what we're looking for at this point is concrete action by those outside of the regional district or within the area to step up and say that they will pay for this. I think that's what we're looking for. So there's mention that, developers and property owners within Area F would look at funding this. And so we have to give them an opportunity to step forward.
Yeah, there was an extensive discussion at the meeting that
Right.
you
CFO?
weren't part of.
Or CAO, sorry.
Yeah, just from a procedural perspective, how staff would action this is likely bring forward a report with options. However, recognize if it's not clear and doesn't quite meet the objective of what the commission was intending, then by all means, we need to revisit that. But that's how staff would interpret that and bring that forward procedurally.
Director Stanford?
Yeah, that was my understanding, that the focus would be a feasibility study through Area F if other alternatives didn't come forward. So, yeah, I didn't realize that was not clear in this particular motion. So I'm wondering if that is where we talk about that when this comes forward and options for budgeting is presented. And that's where we can agree or disagree at the budget level.
Director McMahon, you were there.
Yes, I was there. You know, if there's an appetite for another meeting, then we can call one. We don't do it here. The 5-year financial plan is slightly awkward because the commission is a curious animal that we haven't fully understood, and it doesn't have a staff. So if we want anything done as the commission, then the SCRD ends up doing it because we've got the staff. So just
Has staff too, just to be clear.
okay, well, maybe the town has staff, but yes, I mean, it's not clear to me how this would work if we start asking for more financial planning. Who's going to actually do this work? So, but we don't need to have this conversation perhaps right here and now.
Perhaps I could suggest that someone refer questions back to the commission for clarity. Would that help?
I'd like to refer, is it recommendation 4? Back to the commission for clarity, along with the consideration of a 5-year financial plan, including operating and capital estimates, to be adopted by the end of this year.
Sorry.
And I did use the word consideration, so, but I do feel like we need some financial clarity from, which happened, it's happened in the past. This is how the commission has worked.
That sounds like a motion to refer. Look for a second for that. From the participants, which are,
Okay, no seconder.
oh, sorry.
I'll just ask the chair.
Oh, you'll ask the chair of the commission. Okay, well, it sounds like that is dealt with. If you're satisfied with that, then Director Stanford, please.
I just need to understand now that this request is in the round 1 budget for discussion. So does that change that? Does that get taken out? What, like the implications of referring back? I think we've deferred this 1 year. I want to look at this question. It's important to Area F, and there has always been the understanding that if there's any concerns, that Area F is willing to step up and look at funding this. So I'm not sure where this is going.
Go ahead, Director White.
That was my understanding too. We had this conversation in the commission, and yeah, I think we're totally on the same page, but unfortunately the wording of the motion didn't reflect what we agreed upon at the commission, so I'm frustrated with that.
Go ahead, Director Toth.
Thank you, Chair. Not being a participant, but observing. These are the recommendations that came out of the Fire Commission. Okay, I appreciate that there is not the clarity that the members were seeking, but the budget proposal is going to be here at this table being voted on by the members of the service. If you guys all have an understanding I don't know that it matters what the minutes say, if you guys have an understanding. Yeah, I guess I'll just leave it there. Thanks.
Sure, yeah, okay.
All right, our CAO has some words of wisdom, I'm sure.
Just clarity that there is not an item on Monday's round one budget. Understanding that timing of the Fire Commission meeting minutes did not make it in time for a budget proposal to be included in round one. So there isn't, this is going to be referred into round two. So a staff report would come between round one and two, likely in January before round two. So that's when this will be explored or options will be presented to culminate to a potential budget proposal for round two.
That's good news. So we'll have some clarity. Director McMahon, go ahead.
Yes. When do we have to have our clarity in order to make it to round two? Is there a timing here?
Go ahead.
Sorry, is there time for clarity?
I think the question is, when is this staff report pertaining to this particular item going to appear before round two? No, go ahead.
When does the Fire Commission need to clarify our recommendation in order that the budget proposal will make it to round two?
So understanding that we, as staff, were waiting to see what would transpire with these minutes. We were waiting to see what would happen today. And so in the background, if this motion had passed, we would plan to bring a staff report in January. We hadn't selected the committee yet. If these minutes had been adopted probably a little bit sooner, we might have been able to get something forward for budget, but we didn't get that in time. So if there needs to be some clarity with a subsequent Fire Commission meeting to clarify, then that would have to happen. And I would say very soon before the end of the year or very early in the new year for us, because unfortunately the minutes then would have to come back to get adopted for us to be able to action it.
Director Stanford?
I think just for clarity with members of the public, I'm just looking at the budget package here, and on page 208, it is part of the recommendations. The budget proposal for Gibsonson District Area Fire Protection Service Area Boundary Expansion Feasibility Project be referred to 2026 round two budget for consideration. So it is in the process. The question is, what do we do with the minutes?
Go ahead, Director McMahon.
You're quite correct. It is in the process. I had forgotten that. However, would that include the funding options?
Staff is nodding yes.
Great. Then, because I just want to make sure that we do not hang this up so that it gets bumped to another year. This needs to be done.
Understandable. Go ahead, Director
Want to
White.
conclude? It's great to explore options. I think that's part of this. That I like the end of this motion, but it kind of the way the motion's worded, the recommendation's worded, it's like those are options to the early part of the motion, which would default to being paid for by the function, which we were really clear at this meeting that is just not acceptable. So I really, whether this is going to be coming from previous direction from the board or not, I really hope that the direction staff is going in is to really focus on these alternatives and options in order to make this work.
Yes, and as it reads, and further that options for funding the feasibility study be explored, including potential for developer contributions and other alternative sources, and that consideration be given to conducting a separate Area F specific feasibility study if appropriate. And so that's fairly clear in my mind, that we don't want to burden the taxpayer further on this feasibility study, but we don't want to delay the implementation of it. And so we will lean towards the public that are affected by this in the hopes that people can step up. I think we've exhausted this particular item. And I'm going to look for a motion to adopt the minutes.
Point of
Oh,
order.
sir, certainly.
Sorry, a point of order. This is not an SCRD committee. This is a joint commission. So I don't know how we can adopt the minutes. Like, it's supposed to be an independent joint. We can receive the minutes, and we already have received everything.
Thank you for that clarity. Okay, this is received for information only, correct? Very good. Okay.
I mean, we could call lawyers, I guess.
CAO, no, this is for our information. It's not for us to adopt. Go
The
ahead.
corporate officer can correct me, but you were having a debate about what you wanted to do. So the commission is correct. It's a separate body from the regional district. The terms of reference say that they make decisions ahead of budget decisions coming to the regional district. If you want to action any of the minutes in here, you have to pull them and bring them into the realm of the regional district. So that's why they're in front of you today. So if you want to pass that motion or action that was the direction staff need in order to action that item. So we appreciate that the fire commission, so we have to pull these minutes and bring them, and you have to bring them as recommendations to regional district realm, into the board realm.
Okay.
That makes more clarity. Go ahead, Director White.
I mean, I think I'm hearing from staff that they would still prefer, like, for support for the budget, that the commission, some clarity be made on recommendation 4. So I'm willing to move the end of recommendation 4, and then just with the addition of the wording, feasibility study for GDVFD area expansion, and word it that way, because it's focusing on the alternatives. I really think we need to focus on the alternatives, and but I'm not seeing a seconder.
Figure,
So fast.
Yeah, let's give some time for consideration here.
I'm just not clear on the motion. So you're moving just the bottom
Yeah,
part of
and
the
further
motion,
that.
but you're not moving the top at all, so it doesn't really stand alone. So that's why I'm having some confusion, unless I'm misunderstanding what you're stating.
So when I remember this motion being brought forward, we all agreed at the top that this is not going to be paid for by the function. That's the reason why this motion even came forward. That's not reflected in the top anymore at the beginning. So that's, to me, that instead it implies that this would be paid for by taxation of all members of the function, and then, but also we'll explore some alternatives. So that's why I don't like this recommendation. I think I do support that giving staff some direction to support or to explore the alternatives, because that's the only way this is going to work.
I'm going to call for a 5-minute recess so that we may get our ducks in a row. If we're going to make a motion, I don't want to make it on the fly. Thank you very much, and we shall return in 5 minutes. And welcome back to the Committee of the Whole for Thursday. It's almost December, isn't it?
November 27th.
November 27th, 2025. Thank you. And we've got, I believe that Director White may have a motion for us to consider based on this.
I'll move the wording of recommendation 4 on the page of, or pages 95 and 96 with the additional wording in the last paragraph there of being, and further that options outside of the GDV FD SCRD function for funding the feasibility study be explored. All the rest.
Sorry. We have a seconder. And do we have any, can I make a friendly amendment that we change the word explored to pursued? No, we're not doing that? Okay. Oh, it didn't fly. Okay, very good. But that's, okay, so we have a motion and seconded, and do we have any discussion on it? I don't see any, so I'm going to call the question. I believe this is voting
Yeah, from Gibson's.
Gibson's and Area F and Area E only. So have at her.
Those in favor?
All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. All right. I am going to move on to our next item, which is our last item before our in-camera changeover here. It is a response from the provincial response from the 2024 resolutions. It's for information. I'm looking to our board to see if there's any questions or feedback from this, anything surprising, anything you think stands out that you'd like to bring to the attention of the other board members. Go ahead, Director McMahon.
Well, I will just point out that, as usual, some of these answers did not actually address the question. For instance, we asked the province for a capital asset management plan for secondary road networks, and they responded by telling us that they spend lots of money on roads. But that actually does not answer our request. Just pointing that out.
Very good. And is this is usual that it takes a little over a year to get a response on these resolutions? Is that usual?
No, I think part of the job action, this probably was intended to come before UBCM. So yeah, we're late. They are late, yeah.
Excellent. That's understandable. So if there are no other discussions on this, I would look for an in-camera motion that the public be excluded from attendance. Oh, sorry, I'm jumped ahead. Is there any new business? I don't see any new business, so I'm going to move that we move in camera, that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with section 91K of the community charter. I have a seconder, and call for a vote on this. All in favor? Very good. I'm gonna look. I was getting there. I'm gonna see if there's anybody online that has any questions before we take a 5-minute break and prepare for the in-camera. Or in the room.
Guess not.
Mr. Nguyen, you have no questions? Okay. Nobody's online. Okay, so we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Thank you. massaging the technology. Thank you, and welcome back to